Hi, my name is Derek Campbell, and this is BeginnerGuitarLessons.com. Those chords I was just playing, that is the three chords that we're going to be learning this week: A major, D major, and E major. And that was from a Bob Marley song called Stir It Up. So, this week we're going to build on what we did last week. We're going to take those chords that you did last week, E7, A7, and D6, and you're just going to add one finger to each one of those chords. And those are very, very common chords that you're going to find in a ton of songs. So, we'll also talk about how to play this scale, the minor pentatonic scale. Again, building off of what we did last week, doing this scale. Alright, so to begin with, we're going to start off with the E major chord. If you haven't already, take a look at the pictures on the page, on the web page. So E7 is the chord you did last week, and you're just going to add the third finger to the string in between, that open string in between. So you have your first finger on the first fret of the third string, and then your second and third fingers on the second fret of the fifth and the fourth strings. You're going to go to A major, which is basically the A7 chord with the second finger put down in between. You do that in whole notes. Give yourself 4 beats to get from one chord to the other. And then in half notes, strumming each chord twice. And then in quarter notes, strumming each chord 4 times. Okay? So, second exercise that you'll play in the audio file is A major to D major. So D major is just the D6 chord with your third finger put down on the open string in between. So first finger on the second fret of the third string, third finger on the third fret of the second string, and then second finger on the second fret of the first string. So again, A major to D major, we'll do that in whole notes, half notes, and quarter notes. Last exercise is going to be E major to D major. Now as you make that transition from E major to D major, your first finger stays on the third string. It does change frets. On the E major chord, your first finger's on the first fret of the third string. Then on the D major chord, first finger's on the second fret of the third string. So if you find it easier to leave it there, just kind of slide it back and forth, feel free to do that. So in the audio file, you'll just go through those 3 chord exercises, about 8, 9, 10 times each. And once you've done that, then you'll work on the scale. So let's talk a little bit about the scale. You're going to go up here to the 5th fret actually, and you're going to only play 2 notes per string. So the scale looks like this. Now what I did there was I played the 5th fret with my index finger, and then I played the 8th fret with my 4th finger. And then I went down to the 5th string, played the 5th fret again, and then the 7th fret with the 3rd finger. So the spacing is the same as what we did last week with the chromatic scale, the quote-unquote chromatic scale. Go down to the 4th string, do the same thing, 5th fret and 7th fret, same thing on the 3rd string, 5th and 7th fret, and then 5th and 8th fret on the 2nd string, and 5th and 8th fret on the 1st string. Then you go backwards. 8, 5, 8, 5, 7, 5. So I'm going to play that now in half notes, 2 beats on each note. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now to the 8th fret. And now to the 7th fret. Okay, so now to the 2nd string, 5th fret, and 8th fret. So now backwards, 8, 5, 8 and 5 again. And so now with this scale too, you'll also want to just play it in different areas of the neck. You can do the same thing starting at the 6th fret. In that case, you're going to play the 6th fret, the 9th fret, 6th and 8th, still using the 1st and 4th and 1st and 3rd fingers. So this scale is used a lot in blues and rock solos. It's also the basis for a lot of guitarists that you're going to learn. So it's a good scale to learn for that alone. You will use it later on in improvisation if you want to get into just make up your own guitar solos. Definitely the most common solo in rock and blues guitar. So to wrap up, basically this week's lesson, you're going to practice going from E major to A major to D major, and then E major to D major, and then also do the pentatonic scale, the minor pentatonic scale. So once you've got the hang of these three chords, then next week we're going to go over some basic strumming patterns using those chords. So it's really going to start to sound like music. So yeah, some of those strumming patterns are just going to be like things like this. And then once you can do those strumming patterns, then you're ready to start learning some songs with those chords.